What's up, y'all? I'm Datrianna, and today we're going to be chatting about how to make the most out of your sketchbook practice, whether you're just starting out or trying to get back into it or already have one but want to kind of be more reflective about the art that you're making in your sketchbook. So, I got my sketchbook, but before we jump into it, I want to start with like some light ground rules. So, the first one is you do not have to share your sketchbook with anyone. In fact, work in it like you're never going to share it with anyone. Like it can be your own little private space. And then another thing is like you can make it as polished or not as you want. Like some people's sketchbooks look like art books, others have like some wins, some misses. And then some sketchbooks you like, this whole thing feels like a loss. And that's fine because the more you draw and just like create, you'll realize like you kind of have to get that rough stuff out. And some days it literally feels like I never learned anything. Granted, I've been on this like drawing and then getting into painting journey for like a year and a half now, so still very much new to this. But some days it's like,
did you ever learn anything about proportions, girl? Because what's happening here?
yeah. And so some days it'll literally feel like I can't draw, and those are not good sketchbook days. But not all days will be, and that's fine. The point is to be getting the reps and the practice in so that I can kind of work through that ick as fast as possible to get to days where I'm like, oh, I love this so much, and am reminded like why I even wanted to learn to draw and why I want to learn to paint. So yeah, those are kind of just like my high level sort of thoughts around like sketchbooking practice. Like it's for you. Oh, you also don't have to share if you like have an inclination to share. You don't have to share every single page. I'm gonna show y'all what's in here for better or worse, child. And I have little stickies on the side with the yellow. Those are not the pages I want to show, but the ones I want to skip because you know what? That's not your business. Sometimes it's just like no one needs to see that. That doesn't need to see the light of day. And like you might pop in a sticky over something you didn't like and draw over it and turn it into something great. I have I don't really have those moments in here, but I've done that in other sketchbooks and I think that's totally fine. Other times it's just like I don't know what that was and I don't care to fix it. I want to move on to a fresh page and like do something new and I welcome the forgetting of whatever that was. And like it's your sketchbook, it's your practice, you get to do that. But there is also some joy that I get from sharing. Sadly, I care way too much about other people's opinions about my work. But for me, art is meant to be something that connects us. And so I'm excited to share both my journey as I improve and just continue to figure out what my style is and what I like. And also just like what I create in hopes that like you see something that makes you laugh or smile or just resonates with you. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to kind of like go through a sketchbook that I worked on for from like July till a couple days ago, which it's January 9th, and kind of analyze the work. So let's get into it. Okay, so to get into the walkthrough, this is my sketchbook. I have some stickers on the outside just to make it feel like it's mine. I don't typically start my sketchbooks on the first page, so you'll see the first day that I drew in this was July 2nd, 2024, and it was this color pencil guy. But there are some things in front of this that I drew at some point, I don't know when. And I really like this quote, "The master has failed more times than the beginner has tried," as a reminder that this is a journey and showing up is most of the hard work that I'll need to do in order to get better and to make art that resonates with me and looks how I saw it in my head. So kicking off with this color pencil guy, I really like color pencils. They grew on me. I didn't think I would be super into them, but I enjoy them. And I think these were some like Pilot Eno ones. So they were like 0.7. I don't even like zero point 0.7 pencils or any tool that's like too thick. So I was really surprised that I ended up liking this, but I did. We got some ink drawings on the left. Ink is probably my favorite tool to use. It's just so unforgiving and it forces you to move on when you make mistakes and either incorporate those mistakes or draw something else or like start over. And I love that I don't get to fret about things too much. And it helps me have like a looser quality to my work and less precious. So love that. I actually think I drew these later in the sketchbook, but 12/17. So there you have it, a couple weeks ago. On this page, we got some marker portraits. So I was inspired by Chris Hong art YouTube tutorial, and so I tried Tombow markers and then my Ohuhus just to kind of see how I felt about them. I still haven't fallen in love with this tool, like markers and like alcohol markers, but trying things, seeing what happens. So making note of like, markers, I don't know, might need more practice, might decide I don't care to be great at that. Then we have like this random kind of ink doodle of this room. I really enjoy drawing rooms, and I mentioned like my love for ink, especially when I got these colored ink gel pens. And so I will definitely be coming back to these, and they'll be in my little recap what I learned from this sketchbook. We got some pencil portraits. Pencil can make me very precious and do a lot of erasing, and that's not how I really want to be spending my drawing time. So yeah, I have been trying to use them more sparingly, but I do really like how this turned out. And this one, as you can see, I didn't even finish because it's like sometimes you erase so much and redraw, and it's just like, well, I don't want to draw anymore. And now you don't even have a finished piece. So me and pencil, maybe we'll break up this year. I don't know. That seems dramatic, but I don't know. We got some doodles on this page. Can't really tell you what was going on, but we're trying things. More doodles here. What do you know? I enjoy doodling. I kind of like how this came out, and as you can see, like the chin is kind of wonky, but I just kept going, and I really like how it turned out. I would draw this again. This is supposed to be Shea Coulee. I don't know if anybody can tell that, but I love drawing drag queens because the drama of their face is just so great, and they have like a lot of dimension because of the makeup, and so it's just fun times. Then we got two pencil portraits over here. Somehow I managed to actually get them done. So that's cool. I really like this one. And this says it was 7/6/24. I put the date in the hat. And that was something that I said I was going to do, like figure out how to sneak the date into the art, and then did not keep up with, but really love that idea and want to come back to it. Okay, we got some random things. I don't need to show that. This page is kind of like wonky and upside down. Clearly, I draw for me and not for video based on the way this thing is oriented. But yeah, hold on. Let me mute the computer. Okay, cool. I did like a kawaii doodle class, I think, on Domestica. I don't remember, but just some doodles, more doodles. I'm good for that. These are not my best ink portraits, but the expression on her face, I just love what I was able to come up with. So that was cool. Clearly, I was going to do Inktober. I did two on one day and never came back to it because me and Inktober, I just can't seem to be consistent with that. But I mostly draw every day, so take that information how you will. Okay, we got more ink portraits. Again, these are ballpoint. Don't necessarily love how they turned out, but I do love that I tried ballpoint pen. And I will probably come back to that as a tool, but I don't love that it's like a little inconsistent sometimes with how the ink comes out. That's not really my style. So yeah, but I kind of like that I captured the sentiment of these people more than anything, and so that's cool. We got more pencil portraits over here, incomplete because that's what pencil does to me. I don't know what it is. This page I really liked simply because I am obsessed with these pens, and I even wrote it here, mildly obsessed with these pens. And there's just a bunch of random things, and yeah, I feel like really full pages, even if the quality of each drawing is like varied. Having a lot of items on the page makes it look like cohesive, and that's cool. So more ink and more like spreads of things. Then we got some portraits. I feel like these would just feel overworked to me, and that's why I never even got to her. So yeah, there's that. But ink portraits are my jam. Here's some doodles. Do I have a date? 12/18. Trying to figure out what my shadow style is as per the note here, though I don't do many shadows in any of these drawings really. But I did kind of like the juxtaposition of like the ink drawing and then the colored background. So that was kind of fun. And then a little bit more of that with these ink drawings. Still just trying to figure out like what's my hatching style and what kind of things do I want to be drawing. Yeah, this page, this is, I don't even know, but I clearly just needed to get that out. This, just things that I draw when I'm like, I don't know. I always draw a coffee mug if I can't figure it out. And I actually really like how this kind of came out as far as the bush, and just not being too literal and more so trying to capture the effect of what I saw. So that was nice. Kind of similar with this like popcorn. And then I don't know, I have a note here. Remember Book It? That was like one of my favorite things as a kid. So that's cool. Cool. More doodles. Clearly I was looking at something on Pinterest that was like very Euro focused with crisps here. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Then came back to ink portraits again, figured out I over or felt like I overworked the faces. But you live and you learn, so I just kept going. Then we got a really bad page here. I literally said, like, I don't know what happened here. But then I got these two, and I kind of like how they turned out. I really like him and the ability, like my ability to capture his kind of laissez-faire sort of expression in the like head tilt. I don't know. I really liked this one after having a lot of questions about what was going on the other page and feeling like my proportions were strange. This page, weird, but can we get into these little balaclavas? Like, this is probably one of my favorite things that I drew in here, because I used, which markers were those? I can't remember the name of those markers, but I'm going to put it in the description too. But I really like these markers, and as you can see, I kind of come back to using these colors. And then I put a note, a reptar balaclava would be fire. So yes, love the idea. More random doodles. This page I'm really proud of because I feel like I really captured like his age and some of the sort of like uniqueness of his look. Actually, with all three of them, like his expression and sort of like the head tilt back. She doesn't even have eyes or a nose, and I feel like you can already get her vibe. And so this started getting me into thinking like, how much of the face do you need to express something? And that was really interesting in a cool way for me to start to kind of think about the way that I like represent stuff that I'm drawing. Then we got some different pen drawings and just like different tools that I use from, I think this was a Domestica course from Matthias Adolfsson. He's one of my favorite artists, but I just love his style, and drawing everyday things is probably one of my favorite things to do. Then I came back to color pencils because I don't know, it's a favorite for me. So we got some sushi. I don't know if you could tell. And then I was like, well, I might as well give it a little bubble tea. So a little combo there. And I kind of like what I did with this. And y'all know, color pencils, as I've said multiple times, they grew on me this year. Random little things here. I don't know why I really wanted to draw these peppermints. I just put this Post-it so that it didn't bleed onto these other things over here. But I was drawing this like random strawberry candy that I used to eat as a kid all the time. And then that got me thinking about candy that I would have in church sometimes as a kid. And so this actually just started to get into like more like core memories for me as a child, which was fun. This was kind of my first time getting into figure drawing and trying to capture like some motion. I never came back to this kind of activity, so I should do something about that. But I really love that you could kind of see like this guy is dancing down and he's having a great time. Okay, unfinished page because that's how we roll over here. But underneath all these Post-its to prevent the bleeding, I have random like spills and shadows of objects with colored pencils. And this was kind of like a new venture for me. I don't really know what I learned. But yeah, I will probably do more things like this because I enjoyed it and it felt like just so different from most of my like ink drawing. So that's that. More doodles, more ink. This is probably like my comfort zone for ways to explore my sketchbook, which is why I'm like, while I love to see pages like this, I also am like, are you taking the easy way out? Which is fine. Like, if this is my style, it's my style. But because I want to be doing other things and making other things, I just want to make sure I don't like fall back on this too much. Okay, really liked this as a concept. Not the best drawing, but the idea of like the left brain and the right brain and just like connecting sort of like two sides of you via a portrait was interesting. So I don't do a lot of concept art, but I want to get into thinking up my own ideas. And so this started to feel like I was finally trying to push myself and just see what I could come up with. This guy, I don't even know what was going on, but I do love the color combo, and I really like his hair. I don't know. I think I captured him pretty well with this ink, so I felt good about that. We had another lady over here who I never came back to because that's what happens when I start things with pencil. This is also one of my favorite things. I love the Margiela tabbies, and I don't know why. I just thought the composition of like the legs sort of kicking up from the bottom of the page was fun, and then this angle of the shoes was exciting to me. And then I drew these people, sort of, because she doesn't even have a face, but yeah, I just learned clearly and continue to reiterate for myself that the pencil will keep me from finishing something every single time. So, yeah, but really digging the proportions here and how I captured his essence without even getting into a ton of hatching or adding any like shading or anything, like fully rendering it. This page, I mean, I saw this picture on Pinterest, and then from there, she just gave me Mamushi vibes, and then I needed to find like something to add to her story, and so I imagined that this guy is like her dad. I don't know, and I really liked his hair and just like the age in his face and how like different kinds of faces challenge you in different ways. So this was really fun to do. And then what do we got? This is another page that I really like. I actually realized looking at it that I clearly was like very loose with the pencil here, which is not something I can accomplish very often. So I was super excited to just like quickly get the essence of what's going on without trying to make it so precise and like quote unquote perfect. And it just screams New York to me. I mean, she does have on a New York hat, but regardless, it just like reminds me of like street style, headed to some like fashion week event type thing. And then you still have like the trash and the mailbox in the background because life is mundane and great at the same time. So love that. And then we got another page. This was like me sort of kind of drawing my dog. I really like just small windows of like perspective and things. We got our nephew a fish, and so when I draw fish now, I just think of koi. And so I wanted to also really get into this knot. It's really the little things. The olives I loved, and just like how you have the shading as they kind of bunch up against each other. And a note to myself that I love this shit drawing. That is, I just need reminders and affirmations sometimes. Also really like the like shadow work of this kettle pouring into this cup. And using that kind of like gray marker with this ink. That was cool. And then I must have left my sketchbook open on the table one night, and my wife wrote me a note. These are so freaking good, dash TGM. And honestly, I'd like for my sketchbook to be like kind of private because some stuff really is just like, I don't want anybody to see that. This is bad. But it's really nice to come back and have like, see a note from her and something that she likes. So that was exciting. Other random things, trying some stuff with some ink and some marker background. Let's not. A little portrait with another background. Look at me finishing something with the pencil. And this is just a stack of luggages. I don't know. I like to think about how things sit on top of each other simply so that I can figure out the shadows and lighting on those things and how they impact each other. So that's probably what that was about. Similar to the last page, I got this girly with the little highlight pencil portrait. Look at me finishing stuff. Then, boom, came to color pencil portraits. I don't really know how I feel about this, but it's done and we're moving on. This lady, the avocados, I don't really care. I was just trying to figure out like different shading techniques to create the different values. And then I really liked that I was able to capture the essence of this woman. And she's all over Pinterest in so many different styles. So you'll probably see her in this book multiple times. More ink portraits and random ink drawings. Same here. Look, we're skipping a page. There's just some unfinished stuff in there. I want to talk about this because this is the kind of stuff I want to be making. Very Afrofuturistic, very stylish. Love how I use the color pencils. Some of the hair could definitely be better, the face, but I will be coming back to color pencil portraits and Afrofuturism in my work. that's a key takeaway. And we got some other things here, but less impressive to me. More doodles and just random sketchy things with ink. Have a editor's note here. Need to work on depth of characters, especially from this angle. So you can see, like, even as I'm going through the sketchbook, I'm writing myself little notes for once I go back to reflect on how things went. My mom was doing this like test trial run with the local radio station, and so I just drew this like stack of radios and the station that she was on as a way to kind of remember that, which is fun. And then over here we have just like other doodles. I really like how this like juxtaposition of the pen with the marker, as y'all can see, like I did that a couple times in here, so that was interesting. Clearly trying to figure out like how to draw some flowers. There's some clouds. We got a pencil portrait. Me asking myself questions about my art, like does it have to be a commentary on culture, or can you just make art for the sake of it? And I don't really have an answer for that. Maybe we can talk about that in another video. More doodles. This one was a different class I was taking, just trying to figure out like how to draw people that are interesting and have like they're dynamic but aren't stick figures. So that was cool, and just like exploring unfinished shapes and really drawing in a way that I would not if I was not like looking at someone else do it, because my brain does not work this way. But I had a lot of fun with the shapes. This is random ink drawings of pomegranates. I really like these, but they also feel so like in my wheelhouse that I'm like, boring, which I should not do. But yeah, just giving you a little insight into my brain. I like this page. We got a little vase, a house with ink, something else I never finished. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about these. I liked this guy. And I used Tombow markers for this, so I was pretty proud that I came back to them, even though I still feel like I haven't figured out how to layer them right. So there's that. More pages skipping. Cool. Back to doodles, my sort of like comfort zone. Then we get into some interesting like marker portraits with like fude pens. So these were all with my Tombow Furunosake brush tip pen. And even down here, like this little doodle. Can you see? Yeah, okay, that's better. I just like what's happening with this page, and I don't feel like I was taking things too seriously. Then again, we come back to pencil portraits. I had the mind to set my dark, medium, and high like values, and then apply it to these portraits and have them be different and see what I liked. And I never came back to it because pencil. More drawings. That's not good. That's allegedly Snoop Dogg. Do not judge me, okay? More doodles. This page was funny to me because yeehaw, existential dread, admit one to a shit show. These things just made me laugh. So there's that. And what else do we got? More random portraits. As you can see, I came back to the like ink and marker combo. These pens were the, I cannot remember the name, but moral of the story was I did not like these gel pens. And I did like the shades, like they're unconventional, like a brown and kind of like a mauve, but I just was not feeling the application. So I don't know if they'll be returning to my practice anytime soon. More random doodles. This page I played with paint markers and I had so much fun. I did not like these drawings until I added the black sort of highlights and outlines, and that was a great lesson learned, because I will come back to that for making them kind of stand out, because originally they looked kind of flat and I'm like, I wanted it to feel more painterly, but I don't know. But I ended up really liking this. Then you can see just like more random color with like markers and pen and highlighters. This is more of the like fude brush pens, and I'm just trying to figure out like, can I simplify my portrait process? Love these ink drawings. I don't know, ink just does it for me. And this little like desk arrangement. Stuff like this I just love drawing. It just makes me feel good. Pencil portrait. Didn't finish it, but I think you can get her expression, and I kind of like that about it. Then more playing with paint pens. More of that. We got a little rubber ducky. I really liked this like bathroom thingy I had going on here. And the proportions of this are so wonky, but I kind of like it. And I have a little note. I wish there was a meter for the art progress I've made. What is my obsession with mastery? I want to be great at things, duh. But yeah, I really needed to interrogate myself because it's fine. Like, it's a journey. I'm having fun. It makes me feel good. It makes my mind feel good. Why can't that be enough sometimes? So clearly, I was just scolding myself. More random drawings. I really like this hat and this little tomato. Forget everything that was over here. And I did have a funny note. I drew the remote, and my grandfather used to call it the clicker. And so sometimes it's really nice in my sketchbook just to like honor the people who have impacted me, the ones who are here and the ones who are no longer here. So that's that. More random doodles. This was a Domestika course I was taking. Nothing too wild to see there, but then I kind of built on that and drew my first like paint marker cat, and tried to explore like how some colors layer on each other. Then I came over here and made some doodles, just like here I have 3 colors, what can I do with them? And be silly. That's terrible. Then, there's a time where you get to a phase in your sketchbook and you're like, I'm tired of this, I'm ready to be done. I had some leftover gouache on my palette, and so I just started painting the pages. And so, first one, random doodles, but I kind of really like this girl, and I like the cat and the body of the cat. Everything else, next. And on this page, I like these shoes, and this fucking Posca marker burped on my page and messed up what was otherwise a pretty nice vase and flowers. So yeah. Then I was like, ooh, I already have pink, so how could I incorporate that into something that already has pink? And that's how I landed with like some exploration of like sushi and stuff. So there's that. We don't even need to get into that or that. Look, we're skipping so many pages. This guy, probably one of my favorites in here because we're just getting down to the point without doing too much, and that's really what I want my work to be like sometimes. Just like capture the essence and go. We don't need to do too much. So that felt like a good positive lesson in that. And then more of the Fude brush tip pen, as I just try to figure out face proportions with it and just skipping pencil and going right to the pen. So here, like, messed that up and kind of messed it up on her too, but I was able to kind of use some shadows. But yeah, his forehead, I didn't really love the hatching that I did there. You live and you learn, folks. Random doodles saying bye to 2024. This was on New Year's Eve and I was sick, but I like how she turned out. And that's going to be... Okay, so now that we've walked through the sketchbook, I've gotten to review the pages. I looked at the work and figured out what mediums I liked, what subjects I liked, things that could be better, and I made a handy dandy little post-it where I've kind of written out the mediums that I enjoyed and the mediums that I want to get better at and keep sort of exploring. And then I've written out the subjects. So for mediums, I love pens, gel pens, brush pens, fountain pens. That's my bread and butter, and I want to continue nurturing that. Also, really love color pencils, and so I think I should be spending more of my time using color pencils and ink in the new year as I like come to my sketchbook and my art practice. But 2 other mediums that I'm interested in exploring more in my sketchbook is paint markers and gouache. So with the paint markers, I have some Poscas and then I have these other ones from Shuttle Art. And there are different, like I love the brush tip of the Shuttle Art markers, and I love the consistency and like pigmentation of the Posca pens. And so I just kind of need to play with those more and get a better handle on them, but really excited for those things. So those are my mediums. And then for subjects, portraits in general, like I just love them. I've spent a ton of time trying to get better at like facial proportions and all that stuff. And so I want to keep doing that and really explore portraits from various angles in ink and color pencil and using like my Fude brush pen. So taking those same mediums and applying them to the subjects that I'm really excited about. Other things I want to draw are like objects and still lives. I don't know why those things resonate with me, but they really do. And you can just quickly doodle objects, so that's helpful for getting to practice like my rendering and how I hatch and stuff. So that's something I'm sure I'll keep coming back to. Also mentioned that I wanted to do more concept art, so I just need to probably like try some kind of prompts or like random generator type things that will force me to combine things that I wouldn't typically combine, and explore my own ideas and creativity. So that's something I want to get into and kind of do a little bit less of like the random drawing of whatever sort of Pinterest serves me, and more intentional sort of consideration for the kinds of art that I want to make that fuse multiple ideas. Some other things include bodies in motion. So I like that one page, which was not even remotely enough to say like practice, but I want to practice more bodies in motion. Rooms and cluttered spaces, I don't know. And there's just like a lot of objects, like your shower caddy or like the bathroom. Something about the everydayness of those things, plus what those spaces kind of mean to us, is really interesting to me. So that is something else. And then the last thing that I also mentioned was the like Afrofuturist angle. I really liked that combination of like the colors and the look of the character, and I want to just keep going with that and figure out how it fits into my practice. So with all of that info, I can now go and like find classes on, say, like a Skillshare or Domestika or in person. I'm already taking a painting class right now, so I don't have any more bandwidth for in-person classes, but I can order books. I can save reference photos that are of the specific subjects that I said or people's work in the mediums that I like, so that I can come back to those things and when I sit down to my sketchbook, actually have something to pull from rather than trying to figure out like, what should I be drawing today? I have my next sketchbook right here. It is a more plain kind of cover. And rather than use stickers this time, I think I want to paint on it. Who am I? If you have ideas for what objects I should paint on it, leave them in the comments. And if you made it this far, put the little painting emoji. And thank you so much for reflecting on my art with me. I hope you have a great time with your sketchbook this week and your art practice is rewarding to you, and that you have less bad sketching days, because who wants that? But yeah, see you.